So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about Maya's user interface. So Maya has what's called a viewport, which all your scene elements get constructed in. So if I create a polygon cube, for instance, I'm creating it in my viewport. It is in perspective view right now. So that you can tell you're in perspective view because of the label at the bottom. You might have another camera in the scene that is also a perspective camera, but there's always a default perspective camera, as well as a default front camera, a default top camera, and a default side camera. Now to see that visually, if I click this panel layout shortcut, now you see all the elements that are in my scene. I've got an object set, a light set, the cube I just created, as well as the 4 cameras I just mentioned. So each of these will actually have their own properties, which I can show you over here. If you follow my mouse cursor, this is called the channel box, which you'll use extensively. It's a very important part of the software. Every object in the scene has properties as well as input properties that are nested underneath inputs. As you can see, my cube that I created had just single subdivisions. If I want to add more, I can select those values and middle mouse drag, and you can see my mesh is tessellating and getting, now I have a cube with 10 subdivisions along each axis. So a very nice part of the discovery of working with 3D is that you can continue to manipulate your geometry by mathematic numeric values, as well as actually using manual pushing and pulling and adding divisions via modeling tools. So down in the lower region, you've got your animation controls. This is your time slider and your range slider. And since we're not going to be doing much animation in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to just hide those. If I hover over this dotted dashed vertical bar, I can just hit the checkbox and remove what I don't want. I'm also going to remove the command line, and I will leave the other one up as it's just sort of a help feedback line for me. Here is the layers that you can add your objects to, and well as the attribute editor, which is more robust properties that you maybe don't want your object visible. You can uncheck visibility. It's got your shader information, so I can change the transparency. You can see that my model that has the Lambert shader is now looking transparent. I can see the grid lines on the other side. So up here is your shelf. This shelf has tabs, and you can uncheck the shelf tabs button if you don't want to see them, if you just like one shelf. But right now you can see I've created some custom shortcuts and added them to my shelf. But by default, we should stay in the modeling menu set, and if you don't have a custom shelf set up, then the polygons shelf tab is good.